Hello, everyone. This is Sebastian Traeger, and welcome back to another Reliability 4.0 episode. As always, we're on a mission to make the world a more reliable place through reliability and the power of root cause analysis. And today, we're joined by our friend Charles Mborah from Heidelberg Materials. We are thrilled to have him here, and we're looking forward to him joining us. So, Charles, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it and for being a part of this today.
Thank you,
Just as an
Sebastian.
intro, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about Heidelberg Materials and then your role there?
All right, thank you. As you said, my name is Charles Mborah. I have been in the reliability world for over 10 years, but I've been with Heidelberg for close to a year. I used to be in the mining industry specifically. Heidelberg basically deals with the plant I am in. We produce cement for road construction, for buildings, and many other applications. And so my main role here is to help with the maintenance department in terms of how we can have reliable equipment to ensure that this process goes on smoothly. So
Excellent.
basically, yeah, that's it.
That's great. And you said you've been there about a year. Just give folks a little bit of a sense of your background. How did you get into the field and how did you get to the company where you are now?
Yeah, so I originally came in from Ghana. I came out here for schooling. Prior to that, I did work in the mining industry, both as a, a researcher and then as a lecturer, and then transitioned down to the US. And then by 2018, I was out of school and then jumped into my first role at Barrick Gold as the process reliability engineer. Moved on from there to Kinross, another mining company, to Sandvik, and worked in the battery electric vehicle divisions for a little bit, and then finally transitioned to Heidelberg, where I figured at that point in time my skill set and what they needed was a good fit for myself, family, and everything else. So, and I'm excited to be here actually. So.
Great. That's fantastic. That's good to hear your journey and your path and to learn a little bit. Sounds like you have a diverse background and a lot of insights. So let folks know what we try to do is highlight some of the challenges people face and then the way they're using technology. So right now, what would you say is a challenge that you're facing in your work and in the work that you're doing?
I would say there's quite a lot, but I will just narrow it down to one of an acceptance and cultural change in terms of you trying to bring technologies that there is this sort of fear because most people, when they hear, oh, we are putting sensors, we are doing this, the first thought is, I'm going to lose my job. And so sometimes the acceptance of the fact that putting some of these things basically helps us to be able to catch stuff ahead of time and make sure we don't have people coming in late to work overtime and stuff where it can lead to safety issues. And so I would say that was the initial resistance, but over time, people have come to realize that it actually a tool that will help them get better at what they do. And also, uh, this whole global crisis have led to the loss of some of the most experienced people you had in the
Hmm.
industry previous years. And so getting people and attracting people to be able to do what you want continue to be a challenge in our industry. And I think that is also affecting whatever we do here.
That's interesting. I've heard other folks talk about just people and qualified people being one of the biggest problems. Why is it that you think the industry is struggling to attract people?
I think that also can be put into multitude of reasons, but the first one will be that there's much open opportunities out there, and so people look at the locations, people look at how much are you paying them, how flexible is their life going to be if they join your company. So it's a multitude of issues, but I believe that what I have seen is the three items that I have highlighted so far.
Yeah, so just so I'm clear on that, it's kind of lifestyle, just how much I'm working, pay, and then geography, where it's located.
Yes.
And those are, yeah, that's a good point. Those are good factors. And you know, the location's tough to change, right? Because plants and factories are where they are. You could argue the lifestyle is kind of hard to change because they've got to run all the time. So yeah, maybe there is an opportunity over time, you know, maybe compensation is going to have to be the lever. So that's good. That's good to think about. You mentioned, or I was reading on your website just about Heidelberg being an innovative company. And I don't know if you work on this, but one of the articles I read said that you actually have almost like a digital monitoring built into the concrete. How do you do that?
Well, I wouldn't be able to speak to that much because I wasn't involved in it. But I think there was a team that was dedicated into doing a feasibility study, making sure all of those things are factored in, and they came up with a solution that is unique and help us to serve our customers well. So
okay, yeah, that's amazing to have a solution that is, yeah, just kind of built in like that. I think that's definitely kind of an incredible component to think about. What when you think about your own expertise, what kind of viewpoints do you think you have that maybe others don't? Like, do you have a perspective on the way things should be done, or how people are doing things, and you're like, you know, I'm a bit of a contrarian here. This is how I think things should be done, and the industry might think a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think one of the main challenges or things I have observed is there is this tribal knowledge versus you coming in and say, hey, I'm seeing this at this point in time. We need to kind of fine tune how we are doing something to make sure we get to the best result out of what we are doing. And there's always that initial resistance. I have known this for a very long time, and this is how it's been done for this many years, and we haven't seen the point in changing, which I think is a general thing across the globe in every field, that usually change is resisted by a few. But once people get to understand the cost benefits of whatever you are bringing, they kind of come around at the end of the day. And I think we are not unique to that. We equally face that as well. So
similar to others. Yeah. When you're trying to influence others around kind of a cost benefit analysis, what metrics or KPIs do you try to hone in on to help people think about a new solution? What kind of benefits are you trying to, and what data are you using?
Yeah, so I think one of the things I typically try to look at is the mean time between failure. So if we have had equipment where our mean time between failure is not what we want, I'm not only going to tell you it is going down, but have you considered how much it costs you to kind of bring in emergency parts? How much safety risks you might encounter because you are not giving people more time to plan and execute work? And so we kind of look at all of that and decide whether it is worth doing it this way or we should keep fighting the fire. And usually once you are able to lay it out for people to see in terms of safety, which is a very crucial component of the Heidelberg operations, we need first of all to evaluate it from that angle. and then you evaluate it with respect to how that can impact your people, the environment, and all of that. So once you lay all of that out, people are then able to appreciate and kind of see where you are coming from. And we have been able to work together based off those arguments and those facts.
That's great. So just to summarize, one of the biggest metrics, it sounds like, is mean time between failure, and then you're trying to help connect other things happening to that, so that you can kind of make that argument or that business case, if you will, to others.
Yes. Yes,
That's
as
great.
well as you looking at your reliability numbers, we track multiple KPIs, but like I said, where you can actually hone in to let people see how that will impact the key component of the company's overall business is always key. And so those are the areas that seem to work much better when you hone in on the safety aspect of it, the cost aspect of it. Production comes in later, and people are able to relate very well.
Okay. Are there, why do you think it's like, what are the things that are easy for folks to kind of adopt change in, and where do you think it's hard? Is it technology's hard and other things are easier? Or do you think it's just all kind of hard in terms of adopting change or moving in some of these directions?
I think it's cut across in the sense that depending on the industry and maybe what one has been exposed to in the past, sometimes it's hard in one direction, and then sometimes it's like, oh no, this technology is going to make my work difficult. Or once people have been exposed to it and have seen the benefit, and not to be specific to any particular company, but there have been instances where we, using technology, have been able to predict way ahead of time what could have happened. And initially you see resistance, but because we were able to establish and people followed and were able to avert a situation, subsequently when you come back and you tell them, I am seeing this and therefore let's do this, there is that easy buy-in because they've seen one. And but initially, sometimes when to get people to buy in, they just need to see something to believe it, and that is where I see most of the challenges, the initial start. But once they see the fruit, it becomes something that your opinion becomes important.
Have you seen a scenario where you've predicted something would happen and then it does, and people say, well, we told, you never want to say we told you so, but that you've been able to do that?
I mean, I would say multiple times. I mean, and that is where I am saying that, like, when people see 1, 2, they're like, now it makes sense. Because sometimes you go into a discussion and people are like, oh no, this thing has been like that for years. And you are like, have you taken time to look at it from when it was put in place, how it sounded or how it operated, versus you seeing it for the past 10 years doesn't mean that is how it is supposed to be. And lo and behold, if 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, that thing actually goes down. And then you are like, I told you so, but you don't want to say that. So yeah, there have been multiple instances that I've had to kind of say, I told you so in quotes. So
yeah, it's good. Yeah. What just changing topics a little bit, what tools do you find indispensable for your job, whether it's a CMMS or a phone or whatever it is? What would you say are like, these are the tools that are just kind of necessary in today's world of reliability engineering?
I think for me, and what have been very beneficial has been combining stuff like oil analysis, making sure samples are sent out on time, so at least you keep track of what is happening. And then combining that with condition-based monitoring, such as monitoring your temperatures, vibrations, have mainly been my go-to tools and have been very successful. So I would say no matter what other technologies come in the future, I still think that those two are crucial. If you are able to merge both and use both information to look into your the health of your units or your machines, you are definitely going to make a lot of progress. So
That's good.
yeah.
And are there any tools as you look out on the horizon that you're excited about that you're saying I'm looking forward to seeing those or kind of playing with those?
I think for me, where we are, it's doing condition-based monitoring. I look forward to the point where uh, we can actually have more of what do you call it? Immediate responses to some of the failures we have seen. And for us, we also believe in a, a maintenance culture where everybody is looking at the same units with different perspective. And so we are actually in the process of implementing a, a condition-based monitoring system where people have laptops, tablets on the go with the ability to capture units, do inspections on the time. So at least not just one person or one department taking care of that, but the production maintenance group are all being given that so that we can actually have multiple eyes on our unit. And I believe that is where we want to be and that is where we are going. So I'm looking forward to that.
Great. That's good. Well, we are coming up on our time, so I just really want to thank you for your time, Charles. It's been great spending a little bit of time with you, insightful conversation. We know that the world of reliability engineering is already complex, but it's changing. You highlighted a few things from personnel shortages to sort of some of those the general change management, and then some of the tools you're excited about. I think this has just been really helpful for anyone learning and thinking about what what the world's like. So we're really appreciative of your time. Thank you for spending it with us.
And thank you. It was my pleasure.
Yeah. And again, if you're out there listening and you're interested in reliability training or resources, if you're looking for a platform to help you do root cause analysis and failure elimination well, please check out reliability.com and easyrca.com. But for all of y'all, we just want to be able to be those who are encouraging others in what they're doing. So thank you for joining us and helping us to make the world a more reliable place.